Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, what you know about benchmark? They're speaking them facts that you wanna hear. That rep jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. I ain't taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. You playing the seats, now it's time to grow. Tune in now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow. You know.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Podcast. We are back. It's been a jam-packed day. Literally had to change up our whole docket because of all the moves that's happened in free agency. But before we even get started in that, we're going to start off by introducing, of course, the people that are on tonight. Shout out to our followers, our listeners, everybody that have subscribed. We appreciate y'all. Joined by the whole squad. The big three is in the building. CJ, I guess we're going to continue this. CJ Moneybags, William Patterson, defensive back. How you doing?
Good, man. My boy Miles just put me in a good mood, saying that the Bengals signed Trey Hendrickson. So hey, that's the Carl Lawson replacement right there. So we all good. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right.
Miles, smooth operator, left-handed, Davenport. I'm taking. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. A couple low-key moves by the Jets, but I like it. Bringing some young guys in.
Yeah, you made a couple low-key moves yourself. Talking about you taking now. I see you. I see you moving. I see it. I got the Adam Schefter report. I see it. Go ahead, young Black King. Do your thing. Greg, Sinsmere, debate your mother, Nets Nation. We don't care about the Knicks. Is in the building tonight. How you doing?
Good, bro. I'm good. I'm a little worried. The Giants haven't done anything, but the Nets are beating the Knicks right now down the stretch. I guess I'm not surprised by that. But still, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling pretty good. But hey, Miles talking about the Jets made some low key moves. Corey Davis and Carl Lawson. Those are two big free agent signings. Talking about those are big moves. If anything, but you know what? Sound the alarms though. That kind of I feel like those signings tell me they're gonna rock with Sam. I think they're gonna stay with Sam. I don't know. It's me speculating. I know I'm getting into this already. We didn't really start the docket, nothing like that. But I think the Jets are gonna stay with Sam, yo. Those two signings kind of tell me, yo. Let's load up around Sam. Let's give him someone to throw the ball to instead of just dumping this guy.
Let's start there then. Let's start there. The Jets made some moves. Unlike, as you mentioned, the Giants haven't made moves as the other tri-state area team. For the Jets, what does this mean for them? Are these big signings to keep, Sam Darnold? Does this put them in the conversation of the playoffs with these two moves right here?
No. I mean, it's a slow build. Like, I like the Gerard Davis signing. He's a sleeper. I mean, I think in this defense, utilized the right way, he could definitely be a difference maker. And it's taking a flyer on a one-year deal, so I don't think it's that bad. The Corey Davis move, though, I like. Because I don't know. I wasn't that big of a fan of giving $20 million to Kenny Golladay coming off a injury-plagued season. As good as he is, we're not that type of team to be bringing in guys who are hurt. That's why Bud Dupree didn't make sense. Kenny Golladay didn't make sense. So I like these signings. They're young guys with upside. All the guys that we signed today are 26. So these are guys that could be here for the long haul, depending on what that looks like. But I like the way that Joe Douglas is thinking. He's not going after these huge names, and he's not paying that Jets tax where people might kind of like the CJ Mosley deal. Like, they overpaid like crazy for him. Like, he should have never gotten that much money. But to come play for the Jets, they had to pay a little extra. Now with Joe Douglas and as the GM, that's not something that's happening anymore. They're trying to tax us, but it's not working. So that Corey Davis deal is good. Who else? Carl Lawson too. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Chris. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
With you mentioning that, before we even continue on that, regarding the Jets tax, do y'all think it has anything to do with the salary cap being lowered? We see a lot of teams are releasing players, waiving players, restructuring contracts to try to get under the salary cap. How much do you think that has affected free agency and some teams being able to be involved?
I mean, it definitely affects it, right? You know, you got to have money to get these big name players. And you like you said, you've seen it already, you know, teams restructuring people's contracts. We saw it with Taysom Hill. You know, all the years in his contract are now avoidable because it saves the team money. You know, we saw it with Pat Mahomes. He restructured his contract a little bit to free up some money for the Chiefs. Tom Brady did the same thing, trying to free up money for the Buccaneers. And boy, they had a big day too. We'll get to that. But going back to the Jets thing real quick, I mean, that Corey Davis signing's huge. And the one point that I thought of too, we were just talking about, you know, is Sam Darnold going to be their guy? Is he going to stay? If I'm Corey Davis, are you going there knowing that, like, not knowing who your quarterback's going to be? Or you think there's, you know, been some talks like, hey, we're planning on keeping Sam Darnold. Like, if you come here, he's going to be your quarterback. Or I think if anybody knows, you know, Corey Davis might be one of the guys that knows, because as a wide receiver, I'm not going anywhere that I don't know, you know, if they don't got their quarterback situation figured out. So either he knows who they're drafting or who they plan on taking, or he knows Sam Darnold's going to be their guy. I mean, that's all I wanted to mention on that. But going back to your question, yeah, I think it makes a big difference, you know, for teams not being able to be involved. A lot of teams, you know, don't have money. Bengals are in a good spot. You know, we put $20 million away in cap right now, saving $11 million for the draft. So I know a lot of teams still haven't made moves yet. I mean, today was really technically, you know, day one, right? We're going to see a lot more tomorrow, and Wednesday these signings become official and whatnot. But yeah, man, there's going to be a lot more traction moving on.
For sure. Greg, you already started the conversation that we're on right now. Do you think, in your opinion, they should keep Sam Darnold, or should they go with a quarterback in the draft?
They should keep Sam Darnold and trade back and continue to build his roster out and build the sustainable team around him. Let Drew Brees retiring be a lesson for everybody. Drew Brees today, his career wasn't always on this trajectory that he's on now. It wasn't always a Hall of Fame career. He was 27 when he figured it out. Like, we live in this microwave society of quarterbacks where you need to get it right away, and it's ridiculous. Yes, we have some good examples of Pat Mahomes and Kyler Murray coming in and having instant success, but with young quarterbacks, you got to give it time, and that's why I'm on the Daniel Jones bandwagon, because everybody want to rush Daniel Jones out of New York. Like, relax. Like, it's way too early. And Sam Darnold has shown flashes of brilliance. He really has. Like, and when you're surrounded by nothing but crap for most of your career, you're not going to look that good. It goes for him. It goes for Daniel Jones. It goes for all these young quarterbacks that don't do well. That's the way it works. So when you give these guys an opportunity to play with better players, and you surround them with a guy like Corey Davis, you know how big of a deal that signing is for him? Like, you keep him, you give him a guy who can get open. Like, Corey Davis was solid last year. I don't know if he's a number one, but I know he was a guy I was hoping the Giants would go after, because I think that he's ascending. So you go get him, you give him a guy who can go get open, who's a good route runner, and he's technically sound. He's not a burner, but he doesn't have to be. He's a big body receiver who's got great body control. And you give him somebody, a good receiver can turn a quarterback's game around, especially a young quarterback. So yeah, you stick with Sam Darnold, you give him a shot, you trade back in the draft for a team that's thirsty to get Zach Wilson. Why would you reset it all with Zach Wilson? It makes no sense. Like, you're just resetting the clock all over again. Your clock is all thrown off because Zach Wilson needs at least 2 years to get used to the NFL game, and he's gonna make a ton of mistakes in the NFL. I watched this guy's college tape. He's gonna make a ton of mistakes. He is one of those gunslinger guys, because he can make every single throw, and he can, but he's not going to understand, like, the timing of the NFL game and understanding how much better these athletes are. He's going to make some bad mistakes. So, no, man, I'm sticking with Sam Darnold. He's taking his lumps in the NFL. Less valuable. You stick with him. You build around him. And the Jets will turn things around eventually. That's the way it's going to go. But you have an opportunity to do that with all these picks, a lot of firepower to build this roster out. And free agency only helps you. They're addressing needs. Carl Lawson, Gerard Davis is a sleeper pick. That's a good pickup. Like, he was really good with Detroit. He's a good linebacker. That guy can play. So yeah, man, they're gonna be solid. You just gotta give them a chance to grow. This microwave society with quarterbacks is really, really annoying, and it's across sports, but more so quarterbacks than anything else. So yeah.
Sidebar, just on that conversation, because I was having this conversation with somebody today and listening to different sports talk shows. We'll stick specifically with NFL. Can teams have a win now mentality and develop their youth, or they got to choose one or the other?
You can balance both. You can balance both. There's a way to build and still be competitive. Yeah, there is, because if you're building out the roster with a bunch of good draft picks, but you're also addressing some needs in free agency, you can be competitive. And I know this example is going to rub people the wrong way because this division was horrible last year. But if you think about it, with every team being 6-10 and being god awful, the Giants were in a division race in a rebuilding situation. So yeah, you can do that. Are you going to win championship? No, but you can compete. Like, it's a win now situation. Is if you're talking about just championship level, and no, you're not there. Okay, like, that's not going to happen. But if you're talking about being able to compete and be competitive and give teams a run for their money every single time you play them and make a playoff berth and win a game or two, yeah, you can do that. You definitely could.
I mean, you're kind of seeing it now a little bit too with the Cardinals, right? I mean, they got a lot of young pieces on their team, but yet they're adding these veteran players like Hopkins and Watt, over the last few years. It's not all in one season, but like, you got Murray, he's still young, less than 3 years in the league. And then you got Andy Isabella on the outside as wide receiver, and Simmons as a D end and whatnot. So, like, I mean, they got young pieces too, and they have that same exact mentality that you talk about, that win now mentality, and just trying to be competitive. Do they have their eyes set on a championship? Maybe they think so now, signing JJ Watt, but they're definitely a good example of that young team that has some veteran pieces, that has that kind of develop and also win now.
Everybody want to be ballers, shot callers. Patriots have been putting out the Benjamins today.
Yes, sir.
Over $150 million spent on contracts within 3 hours. They was getting busy. What are y'all takeaways from the Patriots' busy free agency on day one, which in past we have not seen the Patriots do anything like this?
Cam, man. It's Cam's time to show up here. They're giving him an opportunity to rebrand himself and shake this image where it's like, oh yeah, he's not that good of a quarterback anymore. He's gonna have a real opportunity. They got him Nelson Aguilar, defensive. They got a major defensive. I mean, they got Judon. I didn't see that coming. They got Jalen Mills too, and they got Jonnu Smith, very underrated tight end too. So, man, he's going to have guys to throw the ball to. It's going to be a much different offense. Aguilar's going to take the top off defenses too. He's fast. They got Kendrick Bourne, I think I saw too. Like, it's just ridiculous how many guys they went out and signed. This is also Belichick influence too. When you're in the league for as long as this guy is, and you win as many games as Belichick has won in the NFL, you're not playing to rebuild. That's not what you're doing. That's not it. So I think that's also part of it too. They weren't going to be down for too long. They're going to be solid at the least, because even if Cam isn't great, let's just say Cam isn't great, they're going to run the ball. They're going to run behind a big old line. They're going to play great defense and they're going to have all their guys coming back, and Gilmore and everyone coming back and playing well, and Hightower coming back, and these guys who were COVID, who were on the COVID list last year, aren't going to be out this year. They're going to be a much better team. And I think, I'll tell you what, if I was Josh Allen and those Bills, I'd be shivering right now, because it's going to get real crazy for them. It's scary out.
Yeah. Alluding to what you just mentioned before Miles and Chris goes, I believe 4 out of the 6 players, like 4 of their big signings, are all signed to Drew Rosenhaus. And Drew Rosenhaus came out and said his relationship with Bill Belichick and the winning culture played a huge factor in these deals getting done. So you definitely hit the nail on the head right there. Miles and Chris, your takes on it, especially you, Miles. Jets.
Oh yeah,
looks like the Patriots are back to dominance, baby.
indeed.
I wouldn't say back to dominance. They still have Cam Newton at quarterback, which, I mean, another offseason, let's see what that'll do. But he was kind of declining a little bit towards the end of his time in Carolina. So let's see what happens. It's not like they signed Kenny Galladay and Allen Robinson. They signed Aguilar and Bourne. One guy who there was a whole meme about him last year, and the other guy who he's been kind of a rotation player with the 49ers. So it's kind of under the radar signings like that doesn't shock me from the Patriots standpoint. But defensively, they did get better. Signing Matt Judon, who everybody saw him over in Baltimore. He's a difference maker. So add him to your defense. They took one of our guys who was, I don't know, he was bad, Henry Anderson, but we'll see. Bill always knows how to make things work with guys who struggled a little bit. So clearly they're gearing up to make a playoff run, because they earlier in the week, last week, they made a trade for, what was his name, Trent Brown. Obviously they're trying to protect Cam, so surrounding him with some talent to see how it is. They're paying a quarterback $14 million. There's not many teams in the league that are paying a quarterback that little amount of money. So, of course, they can spend everywhere else to try to fill up this roster. So they made some splashes, but let's see if it amounts to anything this year.
That's a good point. A lot of people view it that way. They want to see it first. But I think Cam is going to come and really ball out. Of course, like you said, it's not like they signed Randy Moss, but still, I think with some good signings for them to improve, get back in that playoff run. Look at last year. Up to one point, they was in a playoff race. They was competitive the whole season. Teams they shouldn't have beat. Bill Belichick had the right game plan. So you put some talent in a lot of the players returning.
They deserve the benefit of the doubt just because they have Belichick. Cam was standing. His performance was standing. They have Belichick. You have talent. You're going to win a lot of games. Belichick's that is a goal. Period.
Chris, your takes?
Yeah, not to just harp on what everyone else is saying, but like defensively, we know they got better, right? But the one thing that is nice about this trade with Aguilar, I know he's not like the greatest wide receiver, but you saw his progression from his last year in Philly to his first year under John Gruden with the Raiders. 800 plus something yards. He had all-time highs and career highs for touchdowns and yards. So if he's going from that situation under Bill Belichick, Bill's going to get the best out of him. He has a history of making some of these no-name wide receivers become stars with Chris Hogan and whatnot and things of that nature. So, hey, if Cam can really ball out and they get him, a few more pieces on the line to protect him and allow him to stay in the pocket, he's not going to be running like he used to. It's not his MO anymore. But hey, you get him a few more pieces on the outside. I don't think Aguilar is going to be enough, but it's definitely going to be a step up from what he had last year. So all we're looking to see Cam is improve. Now, a lot of people are saying like, hey, Cam might not be their guy long term, which we know, but like even if we see Cam struggle early next year, which I hope isn't the case, Jared Stidham can come in real quick. But I'm kind of wondering like, hey, did they do this for Jared Stidham or did they do this for Cam? Because at the end of the day, like last year we saw Cam pulled a few times for Jared Stidham just because Cam wasn't able to get things going. But again, he didn't have any pieces around him. It was a totally different situation. So I definitely think the Patriots are going to be back in the playoff race this year. And I'll leave it with this. The reason that they're able to get a lot of these players, which we all know, is just because of the Patriots and who they are as an organization. Yeah, they're like they've proven time and time again, whether it's Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, that they're able to win games and bring championships back to that city. So when the Patriots reach out to you to say, hey, you want to come play for New England, I'm sure there's not much that negotiation that goes on. Everybody's like, all right, cool. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Let's just make sure these numbers is right. And, you know, it's a quick moving process that people are wondering like, oh, over 3 hours, they signed all these people. Like, that's why, because they're the New England Patriots. It's not like the Oakland Raiders, the Denver Broncos are reaching out to you where you got to consider your living situation. Like, man, it's Boston. You know you're going to be straight there. And if you get in the bag too and you're going to a winning situation, like, there's not much thinking that needs to go into that as long as the money's right.
I'll make probably, y'all might disagree, agree. This might be a hot take. I think Cam Newton is a top 10 quarterback next year. I'll put that out there now. I think he'll be a top 10 quarterback this year. I have faith in Cam. You give him a whole offseason, learn the offense, get a training camp, really spend time with Belichick and get this down. I got faith in Cam. I think we saw bits and parts last year where you saw flashes. So I think you give him a whole offseason. I think we'll see Cam in the top 10 conversation. Might be a hot take. Obviously, Miles will chuckle right there. It feels as a hot take. So we'll post it. We'll post it and see what they say. Greg, we'll transition into this before we even go into the Bucks and some of the re-signings and the franchise tags that has happened so far. We got to talk about your Giants. You said you know why they're doing it. But for our listeners, can you break down? There's been some silence over with the Giants and Gettleman and talks of maybe bringing back Tiki Barber. Like, what's going on in Giants land?
Yo, for all the Giants fans that listen to the podcast, I'm sure they understand what's going on. But Leonard Williams got the tag. They've restructured a bunch of deals. They restructured Nate Solder's deal, which is a bigger contract, and they're going to use him as a swing tackle, and that's going to free up space. But the problem is that franchise tag is eating up all their cap space. So until they get Leonard Williams signed to a long-term deal where they can backload the money, like a lot of these contracts you're seeing, these big contracts in the market, they're backloaded. So these teams have free agency, have money to go spend in free agency. The Chiefs have done that. They backloaded Pat Mahomes' contracts so we can go out and get Joe Thuney today, right? Like that's what the logic is. So the Giants need to do the same thing with Leonard Williams. The only problem is that negotiation is taking a little longer than they would have thought. The rumor is that Leonard Williams wants $25 million a year. Frankly, that's a lot. That's OD. That's OD. Okay, he's on some other, and I get it. Like, he should want to get paid. That makes a lot of sense. And he's been very good, and his value to a team is immense because he can not only stop the run, but he can also rush the passer. So yes, like, he had a really good year. He should try to cash in, even if it's at our expense. The problem is I don't know if the Giants want to pay him that kind of money, and so we're a little bit of a stalemate here. Regardless, I think the deal gets done within the next 24 to 48 hours because I don't think they don't have much of a choice. I don't know how you can make any signing with that situation. And that's the thing. Until that deal is done, you're not going to see the Giants make any moves. As far as prospective moves they should make and could make, it's Kenny Golladay. All right, Kenny Galladay's at the top of the market. It's between the Dolphins. Dolphins might go after him. They might not. Dolphins have a high pick. They don't need to. They can get Jamar Chase. They don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can save the money and go somewhere else. Wherever they feel a position is more of a position of need for them, they can go that way with it. So for the Giants, I think that the market is right for the taking for Kenny Golladay. You go get him. You're getting Daniel Jones, the guy you can put a ball to and take it from there. But a lot of good players up in the market. Giants fans shouldn't freak out. The good thing about all this and the way this season has panned out and this offseason is that it's the top of the market was always going to be the top of the market. These top market players were always going to go fast. But the bottom of the market, these guys getting released, or who these teams can scavenge on and get for the cheap. And you're going to get good players, right? Those two tackles that left the Chiefs are good players. Eric Fisher and Schwartz, they're good players. So and that's just like a few examples that you can go get other good guys. So don't freak out. I'm not freaking out. The Giants will be fine. They'll get players to address some needs, and Leo will be signed. It'll be good.
We'll transition. We'll talk about the Bucks re-signing. We'll talk about Aaron Jones staying with Green Bay and the implications for that. Before we get into that, we're going to transition to Flag on the Play segment. Lightening up, a little laughter here. First one, accept or decline. Hey, we got the dog. Okay. We got a special guest on. Okay. Salt Bay charges $1,000 for a golden steak. Accept or decline?
Decline.
You see that video of Sobe feeding that guy, King Bach, whatever his name is?
Yeah, that was a super pause.
That was foul, yo. This dude, I ain't got nothing to say, bro. I'm not trying to get canceled out here.
Second one. Future retweets. So somebody tweeted something and Future retweeted it in an agreement. The tweet was, if Hendrix would have came out in 1982, MJ, as in Michael Jackson, would have never blew up. Accept or decline?
Come on, Future. Hendrix is
false.
Decline.
False, but Hendrix is so tough. Hendrix is tough. But come on now. What's wrong with these guys, yo? It's Young Thug trying it with the old school guys. They don't got no respect for the guys that paved the way for them, man. Future's just trolling. Hendrix is tough.
Yeah, it's no way. MJ, nah. You could have said
They're not even in the same category.
Oh,
exactly
at all.
You could have said Lionel Richie, and I might have agreed with you. But Michael Jackson, that's a reach. And the last one, EA Sports has confirmed that they will be coming out with a college football game in 2023. Accept or decline?
Accept. I need that PS5.
ASAP.
ASAP Rocky.
Only thing that they're going through right now, they say they're still, having issues with getting the signage and, the names and whatnot. As of right now, Notre Dame already said that they will not be involved with the video game, and they're still trying to figure out what they would name it because of everything going on now with you got to pay the players and whatnot. But they said they're definitely still coming out with one in 2023, though. So
put Joe Burrow on the cover.
Who cares if Notre Dame not in the game?
They like that.
They want to use them anyways. Nobody want to use them anyways.
Right?
Like, go ahead. They can go somewhere. Just make sure you get all the SEC teams in there. It's buzzing. You don't worry about that.
right.
Tell me Rutgers don't want to be in the NCAA. I don't care, bro. Nobody's playing for you. It's like the Utah Jazz telling 2K, "Oh, we're not trying to be in the game." Okay, like what? Does anyone care? Oh no.
Transitioning back, the Super Bowl champs have made some key re-signings. They didn't sign per se anybody new. They re-signed back Shaquille Barrett, Rob Gronkowski on 1 year. They signed back Chris Godwin. Well, they franchise tagged him. They signed back Levante David, which was a huge signing. What's your take so far on what the champions have done? Are they just poisoning themselves for another run?
Hey, I think they're doing everything they can to keep Tom Brady happy. Tom Brady was the main piece that they wanted, and they got him. So now they're trying to keep the other players that went there because of Tom Brady and what that organization envisioned. And it's working, right? You franchise tag his favorite target, Chris Godwin. He can't go nowhere. And then you sign Gronk to another 1 year deal. He's not going anywhere. And he already said he was going to come back, just work out a deal. And then the pieces on defense that they kept, like you said, Levante David, 2 years, $25 million. Like, hey, they're trying to run it back for real. Like, they're trying to do this thing again. Tom Brady's not playing any games. Sign that extension. They see this as their window to go back to back, and I'm all for it. I'm trying to see what they do with my man Leonard Fournette, whether he walks and goes and gets the bag somewhere else as a number one running back. But yeah, man, I don't know if they'll run it back and do it again, but they'll definitely be contenders and in that conversation for sure. Here comes the
year. Tom's gonna be a year older. Ripping off into this, bro. Listen, yes, they're gonna be competitive. Yes, Tom's gonna manage the game, and then Tom's gonna win some games, get to the playoff.
You also the biggest.
You know what my problem is though. You know what my problem is though.
Tom Brady hater in the world.
You know what my problem is
though.
Never
just give the man credit.
No, it's not. Here's my problem. Yeah, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I came on here. He's a great. Yes, I did. I say he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
And then you stand for 20 minutes.
Though. Now here's my problem. You see, he gonna manage the game. They're gonna win 11 games next year, 10 games next year, whatever it comes out to being. And they're gonna be the list. The whispers will be getting louder for greatest athlete of all time. And that's when people lose me, bro. You got people in the comment, mainly Noah, but people in the comments talking about, Tom's the greatest athlete of all time. If you don't get out of here with that, because it is so much more than just winning. Okay, you could say Tom the greatest winner of all time, but to say he's the greatest athlete of all time is blasphemy. Tom don't look at himself in the mirror and think that. It's no way. As arrogant as Tom Brady is, there's no way he think he's the greatest athlete of all time. So I know I'm changing the subject a little bit. Yes, they reloaded. They did exactly what we expect them to do. They're going to make Tom Brady happy. That's fine. But as Tom ages, this thing is going to get less and less realistic. It just has to. We're not talking about Braun. We're talking about Tom Brady. We're talking about a guy with physical limitations, okay? He was never once deemed to be he was never once ever deemed to be Superman at any point in his career. So, yes, Tom is a great quarterback. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. Yes, he is. But at some point, the wheels got to fall off the wagon. And so that team's going to be good. He's going to manage the game. And they're going to run into a buzzsaw NFC. And it's gonna be fine. He's a game manager.
You see how he had a game manager in there?
Tom a game manager now at this point in his career. Tom, there's no way you could go. Yo, Tom is a game manager. He managed them all the way to a Super Bowl. The defense carried them. I don't think it's any debate there. Tom managed those guys to a Super Bowl. All right.
No, I don't think anyone's disagreeing with you on that. I just think that there's definitely a lot of bias going into that. And two,
no, it's not.
And two, like you turn this whole conversation. Hold on. You turn the Bucks running it back into a conversation of whether Tom is the greatest athlete of all time. Hold on. I get where you're coming from because I agree with you. I don't think he's the greatest athlete of all time either. I think he's the greatest winner of all time. You hit the nail on the head with that. All I'm saying is that they got a pretty good chance at running it back. And you probably said the same comments last year before the season started, and then they proved you wrong. And now they about to do it again. And I get it. Tom Brady's getting older too, but until he shows signs of, him going down and maybe we saw a little bit. Yeah, maybe we saw it a little this year with more interceptions and things like that too, but it's also getting used to a new system and a new team and things like that too. So I want to see what he does this year, especially if they play the Giants.
Hey, let me just say, we should have beat them. We should have beat them. Yo, that's the craziest thing. They didn't even play well against us. Yo, let me tell you something, bro. The Bucks are like the least.
Hey, Chris,
scary.
why you do that?
I wanted to get them going.
Yeah, yo, they're the least scary championship team I ever seen, bro. I ain't scared of them. I'm not scared of the Bucks, bro. I was more scared of the Chiefs coming off the win. They really are. Their defense is scary. The offense, like, okay, is cool. Like, they got receivers. They got Scotty Miller running around. What's with Tom and all these white receivers? Like, yeah.
It's only
you got Chris Godwin and them dudes. Like, that's cool. I'm saying they're gonna be a good team. But
Greg's about to get us canceled, bro.
I'm just saying though. I'm just saying, like, they're gonna be a good team. I just don't know that I don't think they're gonna repeat. They're not gonna repeat. They're not. That was the question, right? Are they gearing themselves up for a repeat? They're not. They're not going to win another championship this year.
Gearing themselves up and whether they're going to repeat are two different conversations. Are they trying to repeat? That's what gearing up means.
And that's what question is that. The question
that was the question.
That's not even a question.
That was the question. That was the question that Antonio asked. He said, "Are they gearing up?" And the answer is yes.
Yeah, man, I'm geared up to go outside. Like, we geared up to do something every day. Yes, they're gearing up to repeat. It don't mean anything. Okay, I'm just saying that's cool. We gear up to do a lot of things. The Giants are gearing up to go to the playoffs. Like, are they gonna go? I don't know. Like, the hell? Like, yes, the page that they're gonna try to. That's the page. You're getting me so tight. The Bucks are trying to go. The Bucks are trying to win another one, bro. But are they going to? Are they gonna be successful? Is the bottom line. I don't think so. No, I'm gonna get out of the NFC this year.
Staying in that same division, the Saints decide to sign Jameis Winston running back for 1 year extension. With that team, Drew Brees finally announced his retirement. We all expected that would come. With how they decided to do this, they're obviously going with either Jameis or Taysom. Miles, in your opinion, based off of what you've seen as the Saints system, which quarterback you think would actually have the best opportunity for the Saints to be a winning franchise next season?
I think Taysom Hill, honestly. I think Jameis is just an insurance policy. That's why they keep giving him these 1 year deals, just in case Taysom Hill either falls off or all those times running him out at tight end start catching up to him. Because he's been in the league for a while. He's been in the system. Jameis was in for what? Just this past season. He knows the system. He's been behind Drew Brees, albeit playing different positions, but he still knows the Saints system. So that's the one I'd have the most confidence in. And clearly that's who the Saints have the most confidence in. Or otherwise, you wouldn't give somebody 4 years, 140, if you didn't believe that they could get the job done. But that's also, you see they added some voidable years in there too. So if this year doesn't go well and they have to go to Jameis, then they could honestly run things back to next year with Jameis as the quarterback and just drop the other guy. So I think that the Saints, they're not in the best position, and I wouldn't want to be a Saints fan right now because it's like you're kind of in limbo. This Drew Brees limbo that you've been left with, even though he hasn't been the best quarterback in the past couple of years. But I don't know. I don't have that much confidence in them, and I think their Super Bowl window's shut.
Oh, we can't.
Yeah, I got it.
You can't leave this. Go ahead, Chris. Just make sure that you don't skip much. Just make sure you get to me.
Nah, I'm gonna have to disagree though. I think Jameis Winston is going to be their starting quarterback, and simply because of the fact that I think that Taysom Hill is too valuable to just leave at quarterback. The way you can move him around and put him at different positions, I think the Saints take a lot of value in that. Just seeing everything he's been able to do over the past 4 years, or not 4 years, just the past few years, whatever the case may be. And Jameis Winston, I think last year is probably the most telling year of his career, being able to sit behind one of the greatest quarterbacks that we've seen in our generation, and being able to watch and grow and develop himself after coming off that good and bad year, right, where he threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. I think that, the Saints re-signing him to another 1-year deal tells you that they have faith in him and they want to see what he can do in this next year. I don't think they sign him to a 1-year deal just to sit as a backup quarterback again. You can go and get an Andy Dalton to be your backup quarterback if that's the route you want to go, and things like that. So I think with J-Bo, I think they mean business and they want to see what he can really do after learning that system for a full year. I don't think they're gonna win playoff games, but I think they want to see if he can handle taking over the franchise.
Hey, if they need a backup quarterback on the cheap, I'll take a $2.5 million contract. I'll be the black Drew Brees, 5'10", can't see over the offensive line. I'll do it.
That Michael Vick, for real.
Hey, Greg, I know you've been opinionated from day one when in the season they decided to start Taysom over Jameis. You had a nice soliloquy on this, so I want to hear your thoughts on this situation.
Give me a second. The Giants just lost Dalvin Tomlinson. Give me a second.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Oh, he about to get real.
I knew that would happen, though. I knew that would happen.
It has to happen. It just sucks. I love that guy.
Who did they lose him to?
Huh? The Vikings got $22 million. The Giants. All right. Well, hey, listen. Let's all right. Going back to Taysom Hill, because all right, cool. Taysom Hill, okay, so I think we all interpreted this contract differently. When I saw $140 million come across the ticker this morning, and then when they signed the deal, it made sense to me because it was like, okay, like they're paying him market value because he's a utility man who does a lot of different things. That's not a quarterback-driven contract. It's not because he plays quarterback. It's because he does everything for them. He's valuable to the offense. That's why. So you know what I mean? So I never thought for a second that contract validated his place as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Because it doesn't. He's not an NFL quarterback. He just isn't. He's a guy. It's cute, but they run him out there. They do all these gimmicks and stuff like that, and he's got a good arm. But when it comes down to it, I think we saw he's not going to win you a playoff game. He just isn't. So that's where I'm at with that. Jameis Winston threw 30 touchdowns without being able to see straight last year. He also threw 30 picks. See straight. so and look, because you got LASIK now, because you got LASIK surgery now, you can see. Now James can see, bro. You gotta run that back with him, and you gotta see what he's capable of. It doesn't make sense to give the keys to Taysom Hill. You have a clear cap on what you can do with Taysom Hill as your quarterback. You just do. You're not gonna win a championship, and that team's a win now team. You got to give Jameis Winston the keys. Run the ball, right? Run the ball, have him play off play action, have him throw into friendly situations, and you know that if the game's in the line, I have a better shot making the big throw with Jameis than I do with him because Jameis can make more finesse throws than Taysom can. Taysom just rockets the ball into open space. He has a great arm, but he doesn't make finesse throws. He's not a quarterback. Jameis Winston is a trained quarterback. He does this. Like, come on, man. Like, it's Jameis's job to lose. I know they said, he's not a guaranteed starter, but it's Jameis's job to lose. They're going to run him out there. He's going to play a significant amount of snaps for them, and he's going to have an opportunity to again, similar to Cam, to rebrand his image. And that's it. And I think he's going to have less turnovers because Sean Payton's a very good offensive coach. As much as I don't like Sean Payton, he's a very good very good coach of quarterback. He's going to make that guy play very, very well. He's going to have him playing his best football, similar to how he had Drew Brees playing his best football, okay? It's going to click. It's going to click. This is what that means, a microwave society, okay? He was throwing – he threw 30 picks with one eye closed. Like, you got to give him a chance to open up them eyes, and he's going to play much better football. So, no, the Saints quarterback of this year will be Jameis Winston, and he's going to play damn well for them, too. But Taysom's going to go run some jet sweeps. He's not playing quarterback for – he's not playing quarterback for a team that's trying to win a championship. No, that's not going to happen. No way. He's
just too valuable everywhere else. There's so many things you can do with him.
He's just not that good at playing quarterback. That's what it comes down to. Like, yeah, he's good at.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but he's just not. That good
I think Jameis is better.
I mean, I don't understand it, bro. Like, it's cool, but he's not an NFL quarterback. He just isn't. He's a utility man. He's a utility man. That's what he does. That's cool.
And this just breaking in, by the way, I don't think it moves the needle, but Washington football team has signed Ryan Fitzpatrick to their quarterback carousel. Just throwing it out there, breaking news. The last couple ones we'll talk about before we transition. Bud Dupree to the Titans and Aaron Jones staying with Green Bay. Bud Dupree to the Titans. Is that a bigger signing for Tennessee or a bigger loss for Pittsburgh?
I think bigger signing.
Way bigger loss for Pittsburgh.
I don't know. I think bigger signing. I think it's
bigger for Tennessee.
Yeah,
because he's replacing Clowney, who did basically just breathe air in Tennessee last year. He didn't really do much. So, but Dupree, even though they're paying him a lot, coming off an ACL injury, he's been improving every year, and he was one of the catalysts on that defense. Like, it was him and it was TJ Watt. So I like this signing. They needed a pass rusher. Clearly, they weren't getting that from Clowney, and I don't think anybody's ever going to get that from Clowney. So, time to move on. Let's regroup. This is a playoff team, a team that 2 years ago made the AFC Championship game. So, not to say that that's in their future this year, but this definitely adds to this team and helps them build on a better defense, because that was one of the issues last year. The defense wasn't as strong as it was in years past.
$16.5 million annually for Bud Dupree. They haven't released yet the amount of years, but $16.5 million annually is very nice.
Oh, it's 5 years.
5.
Woo.
5 years, 85.
Dinner is
up
on
to 85.
Bud. Dinner is on Bud Dupree for sure.
With the Bud.
He earned it.
Facts. Aaron Jones staying with the Packers. There's reports that he said he could have got more in other teams, but he decided to stay in Green Bay because he wanted to be in Green Bay. How big is this signing for them to keep Aaron Jones? Many people did not think they was going to keep Aaron Jones because of their cap space situation. Aaron Jones decided to take a little bit less money and stay with Green Bay.
It's a no-brainer decision either way. If you're Aaron Jones, you're better because you play with Aaron Rodgers. If you're the Packers, if you don't want to piss Aaron Rodgers off to the point where he doesn't play this year, then you re-sign these guys like Aaron Jones. It's bad enough you went and got a quarterback instead of getting a wide receiver last year. At least you can do is re-sign their star running back. And again, they hit gold because he's a fifth-round pick. This is what they do. They draft fifth-round picks, and whether it works out or not, they don't invest their high picks into offensive talent. So it's interesting. I mean, it's a big move for them because it was big to keep them. Does it make them better? They're the exact same team they were when it started. So it's kind of like, all right, guys, like, what are you going to do to be better this year than you were last year to give Aaron a chance to win a Super Bowl? Bottom line, they got to go get they got to get a receiver or two. They got to. We'll see what happens. But it's a big signing for them.
They got to get that big name receiver too.
Not no big name receiver. They're not getting no Kenny.
No.
They're not getting Kenny Golladay, but they can get.
No, maybe not a. Maybe not a Kenny Golladay, but they got to get someone that can get open and allow that play action to work. because Aaron Jones, he's lethal out of the backfield, but like I felt like last year they didn't have that big time wide receiver and they were overusing Aaron Jones.
You know who would be good for them? Isaiah McKenzie from the Bills. A fast guy, fast twitch guy who take the top off the defense. That's what you need. You don't need no big name receiver. You already have that in Devontae. You just get a guy who can stretch the defense out, and Aaron can air that thing out down the field too. That'd be a guy like Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah.
Not Curtis Samuel either, just in case we can strike out on Kenny Galladay.
I think you got Kenny Galladay's Find My iPhone.
You got to figure it out.
Especially right now for the Giants.
He can't leave the meeting without a deal done, bro. He cannot leave the meeting without a deal done. Unacceptable.
This could get Gettleman fired if it doesn't go down.
I don't know about that. I mean, he should have been fired.
Yeah, he should have been fired.
I mean, he should have been fired but he's done a good job. I think this will work out. I think they'll get their guy, but whoever that ends up being, we'll see.
Transitioning into cap or facts. First one, the Hornets will end the season with a higher seed than the Knicks. Cap or facts?
I think
facts. That's facts. That's facts. They got an easier schedule. It's getting tough right now. Like we got we had the Nets today. We lost. We got Philly tomorrow night. We had the Bucks on
We're gonna
Friday.
talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
So it should be interesting. We're a little banged up right now, so trade deadline should be interesting.
Cap or facts? The Wizards are actually the winners of the Wall Westbrook trade.
Sometimes in life, neither side wins. Sometimes there is never a win. Sometimes there's not a winner. That's the way life works. I know we talk about sports, but sometimes there's not a winner. All right, like I know the Rockets suck. The Wizards suck too. And so I don't know that anybody won that trade. I think it just canceled each other out. They've been equally disturbingly bad this year. John Wall's been playing well. It's not about the players individually. John Wall and Westbrook are still very good players in the NBA. They're good players, but the teams are bad. The teams are really, really bad. And at the end of the day, what you care about is winning basketball games. Neither's been able to deliver that. The Wizards are turning things around. I get it, but come on, you're the 8th seed in the East.
Yeah,
better than you. LaMelo Ball better than both of them right now. And Russell Westbrook and John Wall.
The slander.
LaMelo Ball better than both of them right now. LaMelo Ball probably top 10 point guard in the NBA, bro. No cap.
Yeah.
That's a hot take. I don't know. He better than both of them right now. He better than John Wall and he better than Russell Westbrook. Westbrook.
Yeah, it's reports that John Wall is going to need another knee surgery. So some people, it came out about like 3 hours ago. So some people are saying, they're switching it. Westbrook as of late has kind of found a groove. Of course, like you said, the Wizards have not been winning and they still are in a bad position, but Westbrook seems fully healthy again, and he seems like somewhat of his old self, around 18, 19 points, 20 points a night, walking triple-double. So as of right now, some people are changing their viewpoints on the winner of the trade. Last one, cap or facts? Anthony Edwards has surpassed Emmanuel Quickly as the second best rookie this season so far.
I mean,
exciting wise.
Exciting.
If we're talking about exciting wise.
People don't win. And you can't put that on a rookie, but they don't win ever. Like they won last night. They don't win. They won 9 times all year. Anthony Edwards is exciting, but here's my problem with him. He's a high volume shooter. And like he's not that efficient. And I know he's a kid. I know he's exciting. I know he can jump. I know he's got a lot of talent, but he's not efficient at all. Like there's no efficiency in his game. And you know what else? He doesn't get anybody else any easy buckets. Everything is for himself. It's like a black hole when he touches the ball. Like he is fun. That guy, I love that guy. Like he's funny. Talking about Popeyes after the game. That's my kind of guy. He's great. I think he's gonna be a good player in the NBA for a long time. But I just don't. Guys like that don't help you win games without a lot being around him. He can't be your A. He's not the A. He's B or C, and that's what it looks like. Until he learns how to he has to be more of a we guy than a me guy. And right now he's more of a me guy. So I like Quickly better. I like Quickly better than him. I really do. I think Quickly's more of a we guy. He gets it. He's been forced to play winning basketball. The Knicks are playing winning basketball. They fought the Nets 2-0 tonight. That team they play hard, and Tibbs isn't playing the right way. And there's a lot to be said for guys who play the right way as opposed to guys who play for themselves. And Anthony plays for himself. And I think he's very talented. He's got more physical tools than Emmanuel Quickly. He's got him beat there. But from the sense of how you play basketball and playing basketball the right way, Quickly's got him beat. So I think Quickly's a better rookie.
As Chris said, he is very exciting. It seems like as of late, over the last 2-3 weeks, we're seeing Anthony Edwards on SportsCenter dang near every night, from dunks to highlights to the passes when he does pass, or even his after interviews, which I think that's going to get him some. It's going to get him some money off the court. He has such a personality. But transitioning back to this Knicks talk, the Knicks have the third toughest second half schedule behind the Magic and the Spurs, who are also fighting for playoff spots. They have, just throw it out there, at the beginning of May, a 6-game road trip. Houston, Memphis, Denver, Phoenix, ending off with Clippers and the Lakers. 6-game road trip. Right there, just to throw out some of their difficulty in their schedule. And they have a couple of back-to-backs. And as Miles mentioned, they are kind of banged up. With their schedule and how it's going, are the Knicks looking more of like a play-in team? Or do you think they'll be able to balance the storm, weather the storm, and be like an 8th seed?
Go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, that Miles. I know I'm going.
It'll be interesting. I mean, there's a couple guys out, like Elfrid Payton's out, Derrick Rose is out, but I don't know. It's tough. Like, this schedule is really tough, and if you look at it, the bench is kind of weak. Like, Quickly starting today made the bench so weak because Obi hasn't really shown much. Frank is Frank. He pisses me off every game, I feel like. And I don't know. I love the Knicks, and I believe if they keep playing hard and Tibbs keeps coaching them hard, which I think that's most of how we've gotten to this point, is Tibbs just coaching his ass off. But at some point, we got to play these tough teams, these teams that we would see in the playoffs. And, I mean, we went toe-to-toe with the Nets today, but they didn't have Durant. And we got smoked by the Bucks the other night, albeit undermanned, but I don't know what else this team can really do. Like, I don't want to see them make a crazy trading first-round picks. I think they just need to weather the storm and try to keep playing hard and let the chips fall where they may.
Hey, if y'all can split these road games coming up, best case scenario, you probably won't split them. But hey, we talk about it all the time. The Clippers, man, the Clippers are a few mistakes away from losing a game with Paul George not being able to shoot consistently. And Nick Batum playing too many damn minutes. So if Tibbs coaches them well against the Clippers and you playing with high intensity and everything's clicking on all cylinders, that's definitely a game that you guys can get.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Knicks is they're undermanned. Tibbs is doing his job, and we were all so excited. We were all so live in New York, but then it's just like typical Knicks fashion. Reality sets in, and it's like, hey, they might be in a situation of a play-in game, honestly. And if that's the case, we can't give Tibbs Coach of the Year. We want to give Tibbs Coach of the Year because of what he's done so far and how he's literally basically single-handedly, with the help of the front office, changed the Knicks culture and now are in a conversation of getting the All-Star. And actually, like, it's a real conversation, not, hey, LeBron's coming. LeBron doesn't even have a meeting with them. No, this is actually real change that's slowly being built. I think regardless, if they end up in a play-in game, 8th seed, or if they just don't make the playoffs, I still think this is a successful season for them because the culture has changed for the Knicks.
They're gonna be a playing team, AC type vibes because that's a tough stretch. That's a stretch where you might not win a game. They're gonna play hard. They could take one from a team like maybe Phoenix. I don't know. But every team's trying to vie for playoff spots now and position themselves. And the second half, the teams get serious. So this is tough. And you combine this stretch with the idea that the fact that the Heat are going to get better, the Heat are getting better. The Heat have won like 5 straight. The Pacers got LeVert back. They're going to go on a little bit of a run. They got better significantly because LeVert's a beast. And then you've got the Celtics surging. The Celtics are playing good basketball, at least better than they have played. And they're going to add another small forward. It looks like too. So they're going to surge, and then you add that in with this tough part of the schedule. They're going to be an 8th seed, trying to play in as well. And so it's tough, but we'll see what happens here. I'll be excited to watch them play the Lakers at the end of that stretch.
I'll be excited too. I'll be watching that game. Transitioning, our last conversation, our last topic for the night before we close it out. I'm gonna throw out 2 statistics to you, right? And I want y'all to tell me if any of these numbers I'm throwing out to y'all should be in the MVP conversation. Not giving you the name, I'm gonna give you their stats. 27.4 points per night, 5.8 assists, 89% from the free throw line, and they are shooting from the 3-point percentage 40%. That's player 1. Player 2 is 25.3 points a night, 11.2 assists, 8.8 rebounds, 48% from the field, 39% from 3-point, and they're shooting 86% from the free throw line. Player 1 and player 2, are these MVP numbers?
James Harden's an MVP candidate. Luka Doncic is not.
Oh, but that wasn't Luka. That wasn't Luka.
Who's the first one?
No.
First one is Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Well then,
I didn't hear the second stat. My Wi-Fi acting real funny.
Second stat was 25.3, 11.2 assists, 8.8 rebounds, 57% from the field. Ooh, no, 48% from the field, 39% from 3-point, and 85% from free throw line. Player 1 was Kyrie. Player 2 was James Harden. James Harden has not been a part of the conversation. And funny enough, you mentioned you thought player 1 was Luka, who has similar numbers to Kyrie. But Luka is in the MVP conversation. So should James Harden be a part of the MVP conversation? And if Luka is in it, are we putting Kyrie in this conversation also?
Kyrie more deserving than Luka as being in the MVP conversation. I texted the group chat a while ago. Remember? I texted the group chat after he came away from his month hiatus and told y'all that he was about 2-3 weeks after the fact, and he started balling out of control. I was like, yo, man, he's an MVP candidate. I said that months ago. The national media late. Come to the benchmark first for these takes, man. Because I've been telling people for a minute that Kyrie deserves to be an MVP candidate. And for sure he does, and so does James. They're both deserving to be MVP candidates. Obviously, they both can't win it, and they both won't win it. That's fine. But James, more so than Kyrie, deserves to be an MVP candidate. If we're going to pick one, James. James has made it all work. He's been the point guard for the team. He's been incredibly valuable to the Nets this year in terms of setting the table, and then also closing the door when the game and hitting big shots. Him and Kyrie take turns hitting big shots at the end of the game. We all know Kyrie. His track record is that he's a better player when he's not on the ball. Just period. When he's playing shooting guard, and you allow him to say, you just like, hey, go downhill and score. Kyrie's there's not many guys better at doing that than Kyrie Irving. So, Kyrie's been so efficient. His numbers have been so great. He's playing one of his best years in the league, if not his best season in the NBA. He definitely deserves some recognition for that. He's made it work. And they're both defeating the narratives about each other. Like, that's really what it is. They're both playing in a way that people never thought they could play, and they're playing winning basketball. Which I don't know why that was a narrative about Kyrie, because Kyrie had done it with LeBron. I guess LeBron is the ultimate deodorant for that kind of stuff. Like, you just think, okay, well, you have LeBron, so it doesn't count. But Kyrie can play winning basketball. It's just a matter of whether or not he's in a situation where he can be off the ball and not play point guard, because he's not a point guard. Kyrie is two. So that's really what it is. But yeah, they both deserve it. Luka does not. Luka doesn't deserve to be an MVP candidate, bro. Come on, son. What are we talking about? I know they're going on a streak right now. They don't play any defense. Okay, that team is going to make the playoffs because they're a good enough team to make the playoffs in the Western Conference. Luka's amazing. Luka is an MVP level player, but he's not an MVP candidate this year. It's just that the writers are so thirsty to get, man. I'm gonna say it. The writers are so thirsty to get a white dude in the conversation, bro. How is Jokic a top 3 MVP candidate? It doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense. Make it make sense, bro. And then you're throwing Luka in the tail end of the conversation over James. Why? Because James forced his way out of Houston? That's not a disqualifier. James has played his butt off since getting to the Nets. He's the reason why everything is working. He is everything. He's the glue that's kept them together. Honestly, he's been incredible since getting there. In every way, he's shooting the ball great. He's getting guys involved. He's everything that team would have needed. He's exactly what they needed to make it all click. And it's been perfect with him running the show. And then you throw Luka into this because what? What had he done to deserve it? Luka puts up numbers. Yes, that's great. A lot of guys put up numbers in the NBA. That team had been horrible. Luka spent most of the first half of the season crying about calls, literally out there crying on the court. Like, what are we talking about? I love Luka. He's a great player. His time will come. But they got to stop trying to force feed us white dudes to give the MVP to. All right, that's not what this is. And that's what the media is doing right now. Chris said, "Why always make it about race?" Yo, let me tell you something. There aren't many things in life that aren't about race. I just want you guys to understand this is the world we live in. Okay, so when you force Jokic down my throat and tell me, "Oh, you know what? Pause." When you tell Jokic that he's the
I heard enough.
When you tell me that Jokic is an MVP candidate, a top MVP candidate, yo, Tone can edit these, by the way. But when you tell me that Jokic is a top 3 MVP candidate, and you're forcing him down everybody's throat, right? You know, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and so they haven't won enough games for him to merit that to be in that conversation. He's played well, but there's no way that either one of them have won enough games and have contributed to enough winning for them to be MVP candidates. So no, man, like Kyrie and James are both more deserving, not just of both of them, than Jokic and Luka, and both. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Last question before we end the show, before we close out. Can the Nets win with James Harden being their best player? Miles, head shake was a no.
I think they can. Because I think that even if you have KD in a reduced role, KD is still KD and Kyrie is Kyrie. You're not asking as much from James. James can be your best player because James getting easy shots for everybody else. James might be the best player this year. James is their best player this year right now. I'm saying even when KD come back. So the answer to that question, I think, is yes.
When does KD come back?
I'm not asking as much from James. Huh?
When does KD come back?
That's to be decided.
The playoffs.
It's probably the playoffs. Like at this point, no, you can't risk it with the hamstring. So yeah, but I think they can. I think they can win with James being the best player because you're not asking him to do nearly as much. The load's not as heavy, so he can still technically be your best player all year, and y'all can still win a championship because you're gonna have KD back.
Miles, close it out for us. You was over there, as Drake said, making this face as if you drink sour milk. Close out the show for us on Harden possibly being the best player for the Nets.
I mean, I guess I could change my tune because I did forget KD was there. I'm thinking of right now, if he's their best player right now and they were to go into the playoffs without KD, which, I mean, he's been banged up all year. They're going to hold him out as long as possible so he can get healthy. But if it was just him and Kyrie, I don't know if that's enough to make a run. But if you put another superstar alongside him, then, yeah, they can definitely make a run. And, I mean, the way he's been running point for this team it's been nice to watch because, I mean, I said it a few weeks ago that he should be in the conversation for MVP. Because he's basically what stirs the drink for this team. Like, he's setting everybody up, getting everybody easy looks. Kyrie's having his most efficient year in the league by far, and I think James has a good deal to do with that. He's getting him easy looks. So I think the way he's playing right now, yeah, they could make a run with KD. Without KD, yeah. I don't know.
Well, we'll see what happens. We hope and wish a speedy recovery for KD. You know, he's coming off of the Achilles injury, and you've seen with Boogie, you've seen with Clay. If that isn't really shored up, your body tries to compensate for other things not being there. So you saw with Clay, he had the re-injury. Now he's out, and he's not going to be playing for like almost 2 years by the time he comes back. So hopefully this isn't the situation with KD and that he comes back fully healthy, because everybody would love to see this team in the playoffs and possibly in the finals against the Lakers. Nobody would want to see a decimated Nets team in the playoffs. We would like to see them at full strength. But this is another episode, another installment, great episode of the Bench Mob podcast. Y'all know the vibes. If you stay ready, y'all ain't got to get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.
Peace.